Give it up for the best fucking woman this side of the Missouri, Sabrina!
Got him! You look like a real silly goose right there. My name is Sabrina Kalmans, and I have a mantra. And it goes like this. I'm not a mommy. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a sex object. I am a person with feelings, but go hard or go home. This is a 5-section mantra, which is a lot, but you know, when the time happens, it's appropriate. And let me tell you why it all makes sense. You know, I'm a freak, but like I'm a regular freak with a mantra, so I'm very palatable. I'm very confident. I'm so confident that I made my own mantra, which is crazy. I recently thought of that. I was like, I'm trusting myself. There's no better solution, though, so I guess I'm going to trust myself. Oh, I was talking to my mother on the phone, and I was like, Mom, I just want to be happy, you know? I just want to, like, live in this world, feel joy, you know, like people do. And she said, honey, you'll never be happy. You're Jewish. And the crazy part is, she's right. Because all of the happiest people I know who are Jewish go to the Holocaust Museum for fun. How happy could you possibly be when you're at the Holocaust Museum for fun? I've been personally to every Holocaust Museum we can go to, every place we go to. My mom goes, honey, we have to take a stop at the Holocaust Museum. And I go, Mom, it's the same story every time. What are we doing? I mean, there are a lot of people, anti-Semitism is on the rise. They've been telling me, Substack told me. And maybe people should go to the Holocaust Museum, but my grandmother works at a Holocaust Museum. You know? She gives tours to shitty middle schoolers all the time. And then she asks me questions, like, why are they not excited to be here? Is the VR not impressive enough for them? Are the images not inspiring? And I hate to tell it to her that not a lot of people are thinking about the Holocaust like my grandmother is. And I think that the point of Judaism, I identify as a Jew, you know? I was born it. Can't really like leave Judaism. It seems aggressive. If all your ancestors died because of Judaism, I feel like I would be weird being like, fuck you, ancestors. Who needs Judaism? So now I'm a modern Jewish woman. But the point of Judaism is not to be happy. The point is to think. Today my art teacher told me that I was really good at thinking. She's crazy. She looked at these collages and she went, whenever you do art, Sabrina, do you see colors? Do you hear music? And I went, actually, I really don't. But she is who I want to be in the future, you know? I wrote a 10-page paper about the Holocaust Museum. I got an A. I'm a Jew. And my uncle recently, we were having lunch, and he said, Sabrina, you have to have kids. You need to replenish the Jewish race. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to be doing that. But you can totally do that if you want. Go to the sperm bank. I hear that they really love donations. I mean, you could do it on your own time, but I'm not going to use my own uterus for the sake of the Jewish race. That seems a little aggressive. In every first grade classroom, there's a lot of different types of kids, you know? There's the cat girl, you know? There's the horse girl. There's the boy girl. I happen to be the vampire girl. I was obsessed with vampires, ghouls, goblins, and anything that would give me nightmares. And I love nightmares because I have a very active imagination. This was the first book I ever read, Biblio Vampiro, Vampires and How to Avoid Them, which I reverse engineered to meet vampires, which hasn't worked yet. But I'm counting on it, you know? The best part about a Sabrina show is it is interactive. If you have a question, raise your hand, like this. Everyone raise your hand. Oh my goodness, we all have questions. Now don't put your hand down. Okay, perfect. Okay, good. That's what I needed to tell you guys. I should have done that, but there's nothing we can do now. I'm always interested in adventure. I love doing things for fun. You know, what's the point of any of this? And that's why we begin with the first line of my own mantra, which is I'm not a therapist. Because I got sent to therapy as a child. It comes from a long story because I had a great nemesis, but we'll talk about that later. Yes?
Was there a slide before where you were on a unicycle?
Yeah. From 2nd to 5th grade, I was in my school's unicycle club. Other kids were probably doing fun things like in the woods or video games. I was on my school's unicycle. This is me riding a unicycle in a regular, and I'm going pretty hard in my capris. And that's my mom's video. And other kids were probably, I was an adventure person. For me, though, it took me 2 years to learn how to ride the unicycle, which was very unusual because it took most kids like 2 months. So that means I was standing on the side of the gym for a long time. I was next to the wall, pretending and almost riding a unicycle from 2nd, and 3rd grade. 2 full years of that. I was in parades. I was in parades, guys. It was crazy. But I come from very educated people. You know, I'm a good thinker, but sometimes I don't think too good. I think good in some ways. You know, my mom is a great thinker. She's never gotten a B in her entire life. She is a perfect student. She is Phi Beta Kappa, whatever that means. She likes to tell me that a lot. But my mom has a healthy amount of delusion, just like every good person. My mom is a nudist. You know, she walks into the house, she takes off all of her clothes, then she sends an email, opens the fridge, eats some food, does the dishes, and then installs bigger windows for the neighbors to see. You know what? And I just thought that was normal. I grew up with naked mom. Some people didn't have naked mom. Did you have naked mom?
No.
Yeah, bro, you had naked mom. Yeah, some people have naked mom, other people don't have naked mom, and it's a real point of contention. I would say that I am now a naked person because I walk around in my own studio apartment naked sometimes because it is my own apartment and it is my one room. So it's my prerogative. My mom also has the tendency to throw up like an elderly dog whenever she gets nervous, which is a lot because she's nervous all the time. You know, she has a chronic anxiety disorder, so every single argument my entire childhood, we would say, I would go, this is wrong, we have to have a conversation. And she would go, I'm gonna throw up. And I would go, I guess you win. There was nothing I could do. I mean, once your mom is over the sink throwing up, there's no conversation. There's nothing I can say. And, you know, I have always been a slow learner. So I had dyslexia and dysgraphia and dyscalculia, which is a real double whammy. And then they gave me ADHD, and it was a triple threat. And once I got to algebra, some big shit happened because that's when they combine letters and numbers together, and that's when it fucked me up. I took 6 years of algebra classes. If you can see here, I never got it to pre-cal. I never got to pre-calculus. That's like I didn't get to calculus. I didn't even principles of algebra, 5th grade. That's just algebra. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, I thought I was really dumb. I was with the dumb kids that year, and I was like, oh, shit. Then I got to geometry, and then I got to algebra 2. Same class of my brother. My brother, same class. I would cheat on the test, still not do well. I'm so bad at algebra, even if I cheat, I'm bad at it. And then I did statistics for babies, because my teacher said, you will not like pre-cal. Don't do it. I recommend statistics, but not AP statistics where you take the test. Statistics for babies, though. Statistics for the real dumb kids, you know? Mean, median, mode, that's it. Full year. And I was into that, you know? I went to a really hippy-dippy school. You know, when my teacher, we had a reading coach. That's what we called her. Her name was Coach Craig, and I got taken out of reading time with Coach Craig. And she was a reading coach because she decided that reading is a sport, and it needed to be treated like one. So we would have these stress balls as warm-ups. She was real convinced, and I was convinced too. I kind of liked her. But, you know, I've always done my own thing, which probably means I should have been bullied, but the problem was that I was the bully. And I still am the bully, because my mom raised me to be on Wall Street in 1995, like she was. And when your mom thinks that you need to be prepared for Wall Street in 1995, she's gonna roast you entirely all the time. She's gonna say a lot of mean shit, and she's gonna go, this is what everybody's gonna say to you. And I go, it's not 1995, and I'm not on Wall Street. So, my mom's calling me now.
Are you serious? Answer the phone. Answer the phone.
What's up? We're doing a show right now.
Shows, who are you with?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing my own Sabrina show. I gotta call you later.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Buddy, I see you in 7 days. I love you more than
I know. She keeps calling me every day. She keeps asking me what I'm gonna wear to my grandfather's bar mitzvah. My grandfather has a bar mitzvah in T-minus 7 days. At 83 years old, you can have a bar mitzvah. After 80 years, after 70 years, you can get another.
So he had one and now he's having another?
Yeah, he's 80. Same group.
If you live to be like 160, you get 3?
You can't do that. Only Moses can. Only Moses still lives to 160. Ugh, I'm a bully. You know, Wall Street, me. So recently, this is an example of how good of a bully I am. Recently, I was at a party. Lovely party. I used to tell people that I can see auras when I got high because I believed it. Yeah, I used to. I realized that that's not real. I was just suddenly paying attention to other people for the first time ever. and so I was telling this girl, and I looked at her, and I was like, I know you. I know who you are. I've never met you. I know who you are. I don't like you. Everything about you, I dislike. I'm a natural bully. What can I say about it? This is just what happened. I go up to her and I go, oh my gosh, I can see auras. And she goes, oh my gosh, what does my aura look like? And I went, unfortunately, it's really bad. And she goes, is there anything I can do about it? And I went, I don't think so. I made this bitch believe in auras. Auras aren't real. I made this woman ask herself if her vibe is permanently bad, and I told her that it was. That's how good of a bully I am. Yeah. You know, I can really get in the psyche of a stranger. And like all great.
Sabrina, I know you've been mean to me, but I've also been mean to you, and 2 wrongs don't make right. I'm very sorry.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Sure, you sure?
Sabrina, take his apology.
I take your apology.
I'm sorry, Sabrina.
Like all great heroes of a story, I have a nemesis. I am Spider-Man. No, Superman. He is Lex Luthor. His name is... This is a video of him in 5th grade apologizing to me, which I filmed, and then I mocked him in front of his face. In 5th grade. Well, that's what you do when you say, are you sure? Are you sure you're sure? That's just me openly mocking him, because he was my nemesis. I'm the hero. Duh! He was everything I wasn't, you know? He had all my friends. He was like, he got all the roles in the musicals. He was really good at Latin, and I tried to be really good at Latin also. It was fucking nightmare. So I was like, this kid is the worst. And he got into my psyche, you know? I was so upset, and one day I was in 5th grade, and we had an assignment. We had to make a comic strip of anything. And I decided to depict my horror and hatred of in comic form. Mm-hmm. So I made a comic of stick figure me killing stick figure. There was blood and poop and knives, and then my teacher was walking around and was like, "Hey guys, what did you make?" And I then described my beautiful portrait of my murder of a peer. and then she sent me to the school psychiatrist. And you know what? Good for her. Because, you know, I was really going through some things. You know, I was thinking, I was on Wall Street. They weren't thinking about it like I was. And that's when that was my relationship beginning of therapy. I was in 5th grade and I was like, I'm not a therapist. Well, I was like, I'm a therapist. I've read the DSM. I've looked at Google. I practically know everything. Because honestly, I knew way more than my mom did. And so that meant I was good. But after a while, all my friends, I've always been attracted to the freaks, the weirdos, the people who start getting in deep depressions in their teenage years, just like I did. And the problem was that I was the only person that would pick up a phone call whenever they decided that they needed somebody to lift them up. So I would give like anti-suicide phone calls, and like I was 16 and I'd be like, hey guys, my friend would be like, I'm gonna kill myself. And I was like, don't do this. But I was also just as depressed as they were. So I was giving some really bad advice. I was like, we should just like run away together. we should become, I don't know, don't kill yourself. You're gonna leave me here. And the problem was that after a while, I had to talk to him off the ledge, and that took a lot of brain power. There's nothing more annoying than being like, ugh, gotta convince somebody not to kill themselves again. So I was a therapist with no benefits. It was very annoying. And then my friends decided to make a suicide pact without me. There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than a suicide pact without me. Without me. Are you kidding me? Even in death, they don't want to be with me. So annoying. And I was like, I gotta leave this friend group. I gotta leave. I'm not a therapist anymore. That's why it's in my mantra. Number 2, I'm not a mommy. That's the second part of the mantra. So when I was 8 years old, I went to summer camp. And I got sent to the school nurse for masturbating too much. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just sitting on chairs weird. I was like, this feels awesome. This is going really well, guys. And the counselors were like, she maybe has a yeast infection. So I got sent to the camp nurse, and they were like, do you have a yeast infection? And I was like, I just like sitting on chairs this way. And they were like, don't do that anymore. So I've always explored my body. It's the only thing that I have, you know? If I'm not getting invited to my friend's suicide pact, it's the only body that I have, my one and only. Might as well explore it. At the same, I participated in a lot of Jewish extracurricular activities. And one of these extracurricular activities, I was in 5th grade, he was in 6th grade. His name was Ethan, and we were at a weekend retreat at Camp Young Judea. It's a lot of praying for me. It's not very fun, but I became best friends with this guy, and we would talk. He gave me his email, and I gave him my email, and we were like emailing, and then we would talk on the phone. So we would talk like every couple months, and like that was awesome. And because it was just somebody outside of my bubble. Was like, my friends are not inviting me to the suicide pact. What's going on with you? And he had a tale. He would tell me about his Catholic girlfriends as a Jewish boy. He would tell me about his school. It was called his town was called White Settlement. I made fun of him for a while. It was awesome, And after a while, he would tell me about how he had had phone sex with strangers on the internet. And I was like, that's a genius thing to do. And then one night, I was 16, I was 16, and he was like, oh my God, I had a crush on you all those years ago. It was 2 a.m., and I was like, I had a crush on you, bro. And he was like, we should have phone sex. And I was like, that's genius. It's the greatest idea in the world. So then we had phone sex, and then I heard my best friend ejaculate through the phone, and life was a little different after. I went up to my best friend, Lainey and Ella, and I said, guys, I have some great news to share. I have discovered something incredible. You will not believe it. And they were like, we are not prepared to talk about this. We've never had this experience. I hadn't had my first kiss. I just had phone sex. My first kiss finally happened with my best friend. It was a classic queer relationship. We were friends for like a decade. Then we kissed. She didn't talk to me. We broke up. We didn't talk for an entire year. It was aggressive. And it was really sad. And then I was at a party, and she was like, hey guys, I have an announcement. I think I'm asexual. And then I got offended because I was like, you didn't tell me? Can't I know anything first? Anybody. Can we have a good time around here? And around this same time is I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to everybody I met at summer camp. Well, I've been to summer camp for a long time, and the best part of summer camp, like everybody knows, is the gossip that happens the entire year. When you go to summer camp, you unpack it, you find all the characters, you learn the development of all the people. So what I did, as I was 16, I was like, I gotta write it all down for them. So I wrote down everything that was happening, my girlfriend, the phone sex, my friends almost killing themselves, and I was like, and I printed it on the computer and I forgot about it for 5 days. And I think my dad probably read it. And then I sent it through the mail. It was a 10-page letter. My brother read it. Not cool. Not cool. And I mean, I just feel like I have to share that. Because what is more mortifying? There's nothing more, so aggressive. And that's the beginning of me telling secrets. 'Cause I mean, people are gonna find out anyway. People read my letters. If you write everything down, everything's maybe gonna be out there. Who knew? Go to DePaul, and I was like, new city, new start, new me. It's gonna be great. And I was like, what do people do in college? They have sex. And I was like, I should figure that out. This is my great new project. To have sex with people is a lot of executive functioning skills. With ADHD, I mean, the planning, the scheduling, the talking through phone. There's a lot of like texting and remembering to text people, and my skills, and it's going a little. The thing about meeting people on the phone is a lot of meeting people through the phone is like people asking for nudes. And the problem with nudes is the quality of nudes that men send are awful. There has been nothing worse than a nude that is bad looking. I spend time and effort on my nude. His was blurry. It was dark. What are you, in a cave? What are we doing here? And then after a while, I got so tired of it that I started rating the nudes. I'd be like, 4 out of 10, too dark. 3 out of 10, too blurry. And the best part was, they'd start resubmitting for better scores. What's this? I made an account, it's like Grindr and Omegle combined. And I got obsessed with secrets. Because when you have an account where you don't know anybody, it's completely anonymous, you can ask people anything. And I did. I in my own account, I said, hey guys, tell me your secrets. And the greatest part was, they did. I'm obsessed with secrets. I used to tell other people secrets because I didn't deem them worthy to being secret. Sorry. How was I supposed to know? Not a very nice thing to do. I was on Wall Street. I got a lot of things. And my favorite secret, I got a lot of secrets. There's a lot of secrets, you know. There was like crimes, there was like incest, there was a lot of weird shit. It was completely anonymous, but you know what? You want to see the darkest parts of the world? Easy to find. Easy to find. And so, my favorite secret, this guy was like, I go to my friends' houses and I steal their underwear. And I masturbate with them. And I said, how many pairs of underwear? He said 30 to 40. That's so much underwear. That's an entire drawer of underwear. I asked so many questions during these stories. I get the full thing because I was looking to lose my virginity. Because I was like, how did other people do this? I need to gather data. So I went on strange anonymous apps and I got a lot of data. Found a participant in my science experiment. His name was Elliot. He was 26. He was still a college student. Not great. Not great. It was almost fun. It was a team project, you know? I knew that I wanted to have sex because I knew that if I wanted to have sex with somebody that I actually liked, I wanted to not freeze up and get all weird. And like get all fucking weird because I was like, this is exactly, everybody else is thinking this also. Duh. So, and then I'm a cultural anthropologist of our time. Some people write books about events, historical markers, and I need to tell the world about the world of erections in men. ED is a big problem in the world, erectile dysfunction, and I would know because I've seen it many times. The problem with erectile dysfunction is there's nothing you could do as a woman. You just sit there and you go, fuck. There's nothing I could do. My fantasy is like I just start making fun of the guy, but there's no greater where I could destroy a psyche very fast. I could. That's too harsh for even me. The problem with erectile dysfunction is it's porn. It is porn. It's everywhere. People are watching it, but it's fucking with your brains. And people are not preparing themselves for sex, and they're not thinking how sex and porn are different. So we have to go. And also, it's weed. Smoke too much weed, your dick don't work. Sorry, that's just the truth. And you know what? We should tell the masses. We have to go to every middle school and say, if you are smoking that much weed, your penis will not work. And everybody will be very confused for a while. And you have to, and this is the greatest way to make people not smoke weed. Do you want to have sex or smoke weed? Choose now. You're 13.
Oh my God.
You know what? I wake up after great success. I wake up after, I get the morning after pill because no semen went anywhere near me. But I was like, magical. Magical semen probably got me. I was hit. And so I went and I got the morning after pill. And the morning after pill is fucking weird. You take it and you don't feel great. You start getting all woozy and dizzy, and you also feel like it's like $50 down the toilet. It's aggressive. But I was like, and I went to my roommate and I was like, great news, I figured it out. I got a standing ovation and that was it. But at that moment, I was like, when I took the morning after pill, it was a confirmation to myself that I'm not a mommy. How could I be a mommy? I can have a child, and that's why it's in my mantra. Exactly. Third, what do we got here? What have I even done? Third one, I'm not a sex object. I happen to be a person with feelings. But if you live life taking a lot of chances, a lot of swings, sometimes you forget. You forget that you're a person with feelings, and but I also forgot that I was not a sex object, I'm a person. But in this process, I was like, well, I gotta figure out this sex thing. The guy couldn't stay hard with a condom. What are we doing? People write movies about sex. People write books about sex. People make art about sex. It's something. Life is not that many things. There's eating. There's scrolling. There's pooping. There's sleeping. Maybe I already said sleeping. And then there's sex. And there's not a lot of emotions and feelings. And I was like, I gotta figure this out. If anybody's gonna do it, it's me. The cultural anthropologist of our time. You know, I'm a cultural anthropologist. And I was like, I watched this movie. And it was Poor Things. And I was like, what if I didn't really feel that much shame for all the things that I'm doing? What if I was Bella Baxter and I was just trying to figure it out? So I was inspired by that. And I went on a lot of dates. I went on like 20 dates in 2024. It was too many dates. But I learned a lot of things, you know? Recently, I tried to go on dates, and I got canceled on the first date twice because both of the guys were worried for their father because the father was in the hospital. Twice? Statistically, not very likely. Maybe that's the universe telling me to not go on dates. So I take that to heart. I mean, what are they, brothers? Like, what are we doing? Like, what's happening? It's not a time for love. My favorite date, I have a signature date. I go to Replay. It is an arcade bar. They have a game. They have air hockey. I am the greatest air hockey who has ever air hockeyed before. I am incredible at air hockey. I tell people, I'm incredible at air hockey. We have to go and I have to beat you at air hockey. Men usually do not believe me until I destroy them and I see them destroy them in air hockey. And the best part about this science experiment is, what does a man happen when they're a loser in a game? It's a really important thing. This summer, I went on a date. I destroyed him in air hockey, as one does. I was not into. He showed up in gym shorts. I was like, to a date? I'm looking pretty awesome right now. I have really fun clothes on. I'm trying really hard. You're wearing gym shorts. At one point, he accidentally bought me my drink, and I could see the disdain in his eyes. And he was writing the check, and he put put down the pen and he was like, I haven't written on paper in like months. There is nothing I can relate less to. And I was like, whoa, this guy is fucking weird. And then at one point at the end of the date, he was like, do you want to go to my house? And I was like, I'm not having sex with you. And then he got pretty upset with me. And I was like, okay, well. I walked to the next bar, and then I get a text message. And it goes, and the text says, wow, you suck. I had one back for him. I said, you suck also. Then he wrote a banger. You're not hot enough to act the way you do. I say, neither are you. You wore gym shorts to a date. There's nothing we can do here. And that's the state of the world, I guess. One time I went on a date with a guy, we were at the Art Institute. He was limping. And I was like, why are you limping? And he's like, a big truck fell on my foot and I can't really, and I was like, do you want some Advil? And he was like, no, I don't really use Advil because when I was 13, I was addicted to Coke and I don't believe in Advil. And I was like, this guy's pretty awesome. No, I didn't think that. I was like, that's unusual. We should run out of here. This is bad. But it was also the same day as my first show, of my first Sabrina show. So after that, I was like, you want to go to my show? I needed an audience for my show. It's hard to bring an audience. I went on a date, and everybody at the Sabrina show was like, who was that random guy? And I told them the next Sabrina show exactly what happened. And while on the way walking to my show, he said, I have something to tell you, and you will not like it. And I went, what is it? And he said, I am 17 years old. I lied on the dating app. I'm 17, I have to tell you. And I went, you're the same age as my brother. This is so gross. But I was like, you gotta sit in the audience for my show. I need people to be there. How was I supposed to know how to end a date? It was one of my first dates. I was like, I need somebody to be there for my show. And that was aggressive. I would clarify my dating life as consensual nightmares. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. And I will give you 3 highlight stories. And the first one. A cold February night, I was sitting alone, thinking nothing better to do. What if I invite a suitor to my house? Nothing better to do. I live alone. What are we going to do here? I FaceTime him. I FaceTime the people before you meet them so you know that they're not a complete crazy person. I was pretty sure he wasn't a crazy person. And he comes over to my house, and I was like, what a host I am. I'm a great host. My mom has always told me to be a host, give people water, how to have a dinner party. Every time I have a party, my mom's like, do you have hors d'oeuvres? And I'm like, it's not really like that. But so I was a really good host, and he came over, and he was a good guest, and we were having sex, and he was like, can I put my penis in your butt? And I was like, nothing better to do here, so sure. Big mistake. No preparation. Hurts. I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? How was I supposed to know it hurt that bad? I was like, wow, we gotta stop this right now. This is aggressive. How was I supposed to know? Nobody tells you these things, or they do and I don't listen. I'm on Wall Street. I'm very important. And so at one moment I was like, okay, we continue to regular stuff. He's fingering his butt. I'm like, I'm a good host. I asked, do you want me to do that? And he goes, hell yeah! And I do, and then I smell something. It's aggressive when you have your own shit on your hand. But having somebody else's shit on your hand is, I don't even say it's twice as bad. I would say it's just infinitely bad. But it was a complete stranger, but it was, I washed my hands. I stayed pretty cool. I didn't really think it was that crazy in the moment, but I wasn't thinking that good. I'm on Wall Street. Hospitality, and I learned that night that hospitality has limits. And that's a beautiful consensual nightmare. If it's anything, it is a consensual nightmare. Okay, another time. having sex with a guy. It ends. Condom, gone. Disappeared. Nowhere to be found. In the sheets? I think not. In the floor? I think not. In your buttholes? No. And then I was like, maybe it's in me. So I go to the bathroom, and before you gotta hunker down. You gotta take a few deep breaths, because it was fucking lost. I tried, I was like, okay, we gotta, so I was feeling down there, and I found it. And I was like, we did it, guys. I was ecstatic. I was like, hey, I take it, I was like, and I show him, and I go, oh my God, look, I found it. And he went, why are you showing me this? Why didn't you throw this away? And I was like, I thought this is a moment we would be sharing as enjoy. This is a group project and we succeeded. I don't know why you're acting all weird. Duh. This other time. This is the third story. Feminists always tell you to never let a man tie you up. And I never believed them. Well, I did, but I wanted some proof. And so I was having sex with this guy and he was like, I brought a rope. And I was like, awesome job, good job, buddy. You probably watched a few YouTube videos, good for you. Tie me up. And then he did, but my shirt was still on. And I was like, excuse me, my shirt is on. And he's like, I don't know what you mean. I don't understand. And I was like, my shirt is on. And he's like, I'm just gonna keep tying you up. And I was like, okay. And then later, he tried to take my shirt off, but my hands were tied. So I was like, that's why I said my shirt's still on. And he was like, oh, I get it. This man was smart enough to go on YouTube and research how to tie knots, but not smart enough to understand the basic logic of shirts. The problem with when men cannot hold erections is they start rubbing on you. All fucking weird. And you never feel more like a couch in the entire world. You feel like you're a piece of furniture. And you have to stop it after a while. And the only way you know to stop it is you have to remind yourself, wait, I'm not a couch. Wait. And I watched the movie Poor Things, and this picture really, really made sense to me. You know, the look of distress on her eyes and the look of just guy rubbing himself on a woman. Let me tell you. We have to remind ourselves that we are not sex objects. We happen to be people. I forget. I happen to forget sometimes. But we get to the white whale. The great, what is life except a fantasy? And I decided we shall figure it out. I was going. Oh, that's a hickey. Okay, that's where I was going. I'm sorry, I lost my plot. I was like, I'm a couch, and I got a hickey. And I was like, so I was hanging out with this guy, and he was giving me a hickey, and I said, are you giving me a hickey? And he heard, give me a hickey. So he started giving me a hickey, and I went, whoa! I said, don't give me a hickey. And he's like, oh, I forgot. I misunderstood. And I was like, okay. And then I texted him, I was like, this picture, and I was like, I have a fucking crazy hickey right now, guys. I'm pure white as snow. I went to CVS to get concealer. Wasn't white enough still. Light as shade. Real weird. My mom, I'm so pale that my mom makes fun of me. And so I was like, I got a crazy hickey. And he was like, well, you asked for it. And I was like, actually, if we're looking at the footage, I specifically said, don't give me a hickey. And I learned that recently. This was like 3 weeks ago. Road trip. It's the summer. I decide, why take a plane when you can have a car? Having no car in Texas is like a death sentence. What am I gonna do, hang out with my mom? So I decide, I drive from Chicago to Kansas City to Dallas. That's 10 hours in a car every day. That's a lot of car. I didn't remember that. I didn't know. I just thought it'd be like, I'm just gonna get in that car. I didn't really realize the scale of this trip. But I did it anyways, and then I was in Austin, and I was so bored. 3 weeks in your childhood bedroom, there's nothing you can do. So I was like, I'll re-download that crazy app. And I find my white whale. His name is Ian. He was a nice guy. He lived in Dallas, Texas. I was like, yo, bro, I'm gonna be in Dallas, Texas. We should hang out. He was like, I'll get a hotel room. I was like, great plan. So I'm driving. I call him. He's like really cool. He's beautiful. He's a swimmer. He did Latin in Texas. He did choir. He's into history. He's beautiful. I'm a big fan. I get there and I'm driving and I'm like, where do we meet? And he's like, we'll meet at the Galleria, a really big mall in Dallas, Texas. The same mall that I have been to every single Thanksgiving my entire life. We go to Maggiano's at the same mall the day before Thanksgiving. I go, kind of unusual, but you know what? What are we gonna do? Beautiful mall. I've never seen the mall more packed. And it was great. We eat a salad, we watch a movie. Great! We watch Superman. I was like, what a beautiful movie. It's just like my life. I'm the hero, I am Superman. Baring Edwards is Lex Luthor. It's really, really connecting to me. We're like hanging out. I blow him in the bathroom. Vibe changes immediately. Because after men ejaculate, they have this thing where they post-nut clarity and they come back to real life, and they start thinking they start thinking and get nervous about their recent decisions. So he was like, he gets all weird, and I'm driving him to his car because it's a really big mall. And he was like, what if I don't? Like, what if? And I was like, bro, it doesn't matter. I'm chill, you're chill, we're all cool. And he's like, great plan, good job. We go to the hotel. Happens to be the same hotel that I go to every Thanksgiving during my entire childhood. We get there, and the nostalgia is weird. I was walking, and I was like, this is unusual, and this is something that I have to tell at a Sabrina show. And I do, and I did. We have sex, classic problem, he can't stay hard with a condom. There's nothing more annoying. We eat an edible, he goes through an anxiety spiral. I start becoming a therapist again because there's nothing I can do. You know, I was like, have you ever heard of SSRIs? How's your relationship with your father? Like, he got a real bad high, and I was like, okay. But I was like, well, I'll be a therapist. And right before we go to bed, I was like, yo, be nice to me in the morning. He wakes up in the morning, immediately packs. He has a lot to do. He's scheduled having sex with a stranger meetup the day before packing for college. So he's running around. He's like, you gotta go. And I was like, whoa, this is a lot. And I was like, yo, but yesterday I told you to be really nice to me in the morning. And he was like, oh, right. So I was like, can you just like hang out with me for like 5 minutes? And he did. But like, I just felt the resentment from him. And then he was like, you need a plan B. And I go, here we go again. Fucking, we're back to this again? Okay, no semen went anywhere near my vagina. We have nothing. You're gonna pay for it, $50 down. I am in an IHOP sitting there, and the plan B hits. I feel high again. I'm like, am I high? Am I nauseous? I'm like, I get all dizzy. It's just what plan B does. And then he looks across at me at the table, and he was like, I was in a real slump. This was good practice. And I was like, practice? This is the NFL. This is the greatest fantasy of sex in the world. This is not practice. This is at least a state meeting of sex. This isn't practice. Are you kidding me? We have done it. The ultimate fantasy. I didn't even pay that much. He paid for the hotel. It all went great. But then I was like, but after I realized, like, I didn't feel so good. And then I had to drive 10 hours to Kansas City. And there's nothing worse than a troublesome encounter just replaying it for 10 hours straight. So I started like calling everyone, and I was like, let me tell you what happened. This is fucking crazy. What am I gonna do? I had a mental low point because I really had no better option other than like a podcast or listening to Hamilton and crying again. And I really did that a couple times. So, and I replay everything, and I start to piece it all together in the car. I was like, I was being a mommy in that moment. I was being a therapist in that moment, and I was playing the role as a sex object. And I did forget that I was a person with feelings. But did I go hard or go home? Technically, I did go hard and go home. So that's a great success in my book. Because if you have a mantra like I do, it'll all be okay. You know what? Trust yourself. Nothing better to do in this town. And, you know, in that car trip from Kansas City to Chicago, I wrote down this mantra. I made dictations to myself through voice message, and I was like, I'm not a mommy. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a sex object. I am a person with feelings, but go hard or go home. And now that is my North Star. And that's why I have a show about it. Thank you very much. I've been Sabrina Kalman. Thank you for coming.